For the world went always in the deceiving ways. And the deceiving ways are all the ways that man walked on earth. For man did not wait for your God to teach man how to know the world that God has created and how to know himself in the world in which he lives. And so all men walked not knowing that everything that they were given to see, that they pursued, were all that which was an illusion, because that which it came from is that which is the God hidden in everything. And when man did not understand why God is the all in all, man did not know that everything that he experiences, in any way that he has experienced it and continues to experience it, it is the way God manifests to man that God is that all, that is all. For nothing can exist except God exists. And all things exist because God exists. And they exist because they exist in God and they come from God. So it doesn't matter how terrible a thing is, or how pleasant it is, or how joyful it is, or how sad it is. It is always the way that God showed man how God is that all that is in all. And every man went saying, this thing caused it, that thing caused it. And God says unto you, know ye, there is nothing other than God. And when there is nothing other than God, God is all that there is. God is all that there was. God is all that there will ever be. And because of this, God told man, every possibility that you see exists as God, because God is all possibilities that are given to be known. The world was always wayward because man had not waited to be taught that which is of the divinity of the Father, Mother, Creator gods. And so man went always looking outside of himself to understand the things that are visible before him, to find a way that they can be his, to find a way that he can control it, to find a way that he can possess it, to find a way that he can own it, all to no avail. Because God kept showing man, it doesn't really matter how much you accumulate in this life, it will all mean nothing to you. For until you come to understand the way in which you exist in that image and likeness of God, you will never understand the sacred secrets behind all these things that are made visible unto you. And man did not understand that he himself is a visible projection of that which is his God. And so whenever God says to you, however any man is in the way that he is flesh, that is the way that the Spirit or the God that in him is. For all that man is a manifesting seen of the unseen. These things are always hidden from man. And they're hidden from man because man did not wait for your God to teach man how to know the way God created all things and how all things work to serve God. The word God to man is only a word. He uses it, but he doesn't understand it. And in every way that he was deceived, He started fashioning God in his own image, in his own likeness. And he had no way of knowing that all these ways that he had gone, that he was told was wayward, was all the ways that was of darkness. You cannot know that which is greater than yourself. You can never know the things greater than you are. And because man did not understand these things, he did not know that until and unless he waited, so that the God that giveth that which is of itself to man would be able to guide man in an understanding of how it is in him and how it is him. This whole world is in darkness. For man lacked the wisdom of the divine to understand these things. And because he had no knowledge of who or what God means or represents, he was always working in the falsehoods that came from the deceit that he received in all the many things that he was given to know. It is for this reason that your father and mother God says always to the world, the truth can only be known when the time comes that God says to all mankind on earth, it is finished. God waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited for man to come to the realization that there must be something greater than all the things that he sees. For all the things that he has seen came from his own unseen. And it is the way God wanted man to know himself, that the possibilities of the unseen manifested in all seen things is the way in which that likeness of God is in man. And man could not have known these things because man did not wait. And when man had no way of knowing these things, it is because he was disconnected from his God. Everywhere in this world, man walks in an illusion, fighting for all the things that mean nothing, and losing everything in the end. And wherever man dwells on earth, he had not known that every way that he did all these terrible things on earth, he did it to earth. And he has no way of knowing that every way that he goes sick, he goes weak, he goes weary, the earth goes that same way too. For the earth is his mother, and the earth is his father. And the earth provides everything like a good mother and a good father for everyone. And all men came here and did not understand why he was told, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days upon the earth, thy days upon the earth shall belong. And God says everything that is returned back to man is all the ways that the earth shows man what he had done to his mother and his father. That is now being returned to him. Man did not understand that every creation of God indicates to him that it is like him. The earth feels, the earth hears, the earth speaks. But man does not hear, nor does he see. And so, in all the ways, the children must come to know the truth, and they too must know that the Lord thy God had shown them when they came to earth how earth is mother and father of all, and that in giving them custodianship of earth, God had given them to protect earth with the great might and powers that they had brought with them from the sun. For they came from a higher world, and the higher world carries a higher light and a higher might. And all these things were lost on the chain of God. They failed to protect earth because they were disobedient in what they were given to do. And so the world was never the same. Everywhere they created Eden, God said to them, look around. All you see is Hebron. All you see is a dunghill, a stable, because it is never the same as the Garden of Eden. And so until this wisdom is known to the children of God, they would not know why it is they suffered so terribly on earth, because God had shown them the way of barbarians on earth. And every way that God knew that they did not know what God showed them, they did not know why they were different to all the tribes on earth. They do not look like you. They are not of you. And when they are not of you, they cannot be like you. And it really doesn't matter what the children felt or wanted to believe. God showed them. The goat cannot be like the dog, neither can the cow be like the cat. They are not the same. And you, says God to the children, are not the same. They must know these things. For every way that they had lost the way that God had sent them in the sacred and divine cosmic mind of God, they lost it. And when they lost the cosmic mind of God, they lost the celestial ways of thinking. They lost the way to spiritualize thinking. And when they can no longer spiritualize their thinking, they were always finding themselves in this earthly plane, thinking in ways that are of the lowly, physical, material, seen things. You must teach them how to spiritualize their thinking. Because until they come to that knowledge that all that exists because Spirit, that is God, exists, they can never come to understand the way that they were masters of everything. They were gods in all the world. They were rulers in all the world. Because they did not remember how to spiritualize their thinking. Teach and preach. Continue to teach and preach. And everywhere that we will send you, we will teach them the things that they ought to know, they need to know, and they will know. For the time has come, says God, when the promises of God unto them will be fulfilled, and that in all the ways that they did not know, that the color that they have is not the color they came here with, they must know that they were never ever the way that they are. They must return back to the way that they were, and they will be. For God promised them that in every way that the redemption comes, it is in the way the transfiguration also comes. For the children will return back to the color of the sun, bright scarlet red. And when they return back to this color of the sun, then will their cosmic vibrations return to them, so that in every way they vibrated at a higher frequency, they were powerful. And because they have taken on the color of earth, for earth adopted them when they lost the color of the sun, and God gave it to them because earth was grateful to them for the transformation that they brought to earth. And they didn't know these things, they couldn't know these things, because all things that were of the divine departed from the children of God and returned back to the sun. There are many things that God knew that the children had not known. And because of the lack of knowledge, they perished. And so God gave it that in every way that they will overcome all that which they had been given in the evil that had come forth from the many. God shows them the way back to their divine selves. In goodness and love, all things go forth. In the heart of God are all things stored. And every way that God's heart is within your own heart, so will you teach the children of God how to unlock the heart of God that is also in their hearts. For unless they are able to unlock God's heart in their own hearts, they will never be able to discover the sacred mysteries of God that are the sacred secrets of God that are hidden within them. All the world is God. Everything in the world is God. Nothing exists that is not of God, for all things exist because of God. Go ye always the way we give you. Teach and preach. Teach and preach. For God cometh that the salvation of the children may be assured, and that the world through God may live again, as God cleanses this world of all evildoers and restores back the divine order of God into the world, so that in every way it is restored on earth, the paradise of the children of God shall be regained on earth.